Hello everybody and welcome back to the Figure Forecast. We're on our 10th episode, I believe, of 2023 and we're going to be talking about Backlash, 2 days away. I am joined, as always, by Sam. How are you doing, Sam?
Just Sam.
I didn't say who I was either.
No.
We just keep going.
Oh man, I've lost my nickname and everything. Hello, Damien. I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. We've now post-draft in WWE, and hopefully it's a draft that sticks for a little while at least.
Bit of a mixed bag really, wasn't it? I was sort of feeling a little bit down after SmackDown because, as we mentioned on the previous podcast that we did about the draft, I really wanted Cody to stay as far away from that world heavyweight title as possible, but look, let's just let it play out, guys.
In WWE's defence, they have had Cody basically come out and say that he wants Roman's titles. That's still his focus. He's not just going to go, the world heavyweight title, yeah, I'll take that.
Well, it just makes me think maybe now more than ever, Cody Rhodes for Money in the Bank calls his shot like a babyface does at SummerSlam.
I still have a feeling we're going all the way to Mania.
I do too. That's my fear. But potentially, if Cody wins the Money in the Bank and then calls his shot at Mania next year, maybe it's like a little bit salvageable. I don't know. Although, that being said, I'd love Dominic Mysterio to win the Money in the Bank.
They could still do the calls his shot, but only wins the WWE title.
Well, I heard that they're on about merging the two belts together.
I don't see how they can do that, to be honest. Like, we've talked about it kind of off podcast, that if you merge it, what do you...
Yeah, but WWE
all of a sudden count?
They've never been one for following, like, law strictly, have they?
They have with the WWE title. They keep that one close. Like, whenever they've merged titles into it before, they just scrap the other title.
Yeah, I know.
But if you do that with this one, Roman's only got the belt for 400 odd days. He doesn't have that 1,000-day reign.
I know. Yeah, I understand that. But like, even on Raw this week, it made me laugh when they're like, the last time Brock and Cody were in the ring together, it was like the first time Brock attacked him, and I was like, but what happened last week? They're in the ring together. But hey ho, WWE like to lie and think that you're stupid enough to forget.
I forgot about last week, to be honest.
Okay. They also said that Shinsuke Nakamura is a skilled striker as he trained in jiu-jitsu, and I'm not the most knowledgeable person about MMA, but I'm pretty sure jiu-jitsu is mainly throws and submissions. I'm pretty sure. That's what someone said to me anyway, so I'm taking their word on that.
Let's just fact check you there, Sam.
Yeah. Well, anyway, after what happened on Raw, he's pretty much dead in the water anyway, so it doesn't particularly matter. Let's have a look. Jiu-Jitsu? That's a film, apparently, in 2020 on Netflix. Did I say it had Nicolas Cage in?
Oh, apparently Jiu-Jitsu doesn't have a space in it. A system of close combat, unarmed or with a minor weapon. Focus on striking, kicking, grappling and wrestling. I think WWE got it right here.
Fact checked.
The one time they get it right.
The person that told me. We'll cut that bit out. Anyway, we're here to talk about Backlash. So let's talk about Backlash and a little bit of the lead up to it. What's your thoughts?
Well, I was just going to say before we talk about this one specifically, what are your thoughts generally on Backlash? Because I've always kind of enjoyed it as a pay-per-view, that little hang-ons from WrestleMania and some of the new stories you get in.
It's quite a nice one if they do it properly. I think this year they've done it properly in storylines coming out of WrestleMania, certain ones like with Bad Bunny featuring the Judgment Day and everything. But then there are some random matches in there as well, aren't there? Like Seth Rollins and Omos. Yeah,
that one definitely came out of nowhere. Yeah. It's been kind of reported that Seth Rollins found out about it when it was posted on Twitter, which is a weird way to find out who you're facing.
I think what WWE have done really well, especially since the Triple H era, if you want to call it that, is sort of having, I don't know what the best term for it is, I was going to say themed pay-per-views, in the sense that they're in specific places, not just random American town. So we had English one, God, I got it wrong, I did WWE then. The Welsh one.
The British one.
The British one with British superstar Drew McIntyre headlining. Then you obviously had Montreal with Royal Rumble, Sami Zayn headlining.
Elimination Chamber.
Oh yeah, the Elimination Chamber. I'm doing really well here, but I'm getting most of it right. And now we've got Backlash in Puerto Rico, and you've got two Puerto Rican superstars, if you could call Bad Bunny that, and Zelina Vega as well.
Yeah.
So I really like it. It sort of adds the extra little bit of spice in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, WWE has definitely felt a lot more, I was going to say international, but Puerto Rico is kind of not, but it sort of feels like it is. It's not mainland America, yes. I think, is the important factor. But we've had the Saudi shows for a while, which, despite a lot of negative connotations with them, do give it that global feel. We've got the UK ones, we've had basically just America for years and years, and it is nice to kind of see some opening.
I know we've got Saudi Arabia coming up, and potentially that streak is going to end, because I'm not sure if Mansoor will appear after the recent stories that have come out. He was missing on Raw this week.
I do like a bit of maximum male models.
Yeah, I like them. I just think they're trying to keep them away from the public eye.
Yeah,
until that story sort of simmers down a little bit.
Probably best for a moment.
So maybe that streak's going to be broken. But hey ho. Should we talk about some of the matches on this card then?
Yeah, let's start with one of the biggest ones. Cody and Brock. Now, you've obviously been very down on the Cody Rhodes story since WrestleMania. Rightfully so, many would say. It did feel like we should be having a very different story this last month. Although I feel the end point would have still been the same place. We still would be having this match.
I agree.
It would have just been for the title. Obviously, Brock can't challenge Roman, but as soon as someone wins it, then that becomes open. So I feel like we would have got here either way. I think this could be a really good Brock match, because when he decides he wants to perform, we get some really good matches. And how he's been performing on the weekly shows, we might be getting a really good version of Brock.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I'm really looking forward to the match. I'm a little bit scared that Lesnar's going to win and carry on this Cody's got to have hard times thing. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win because of that seed of doubt in my head. Did you see though on the segment on Raw, Cody actually punched Brock in the face? Like proper, you know.
I saw the segment. I didn't realise it was
a proper punch in the face. Brock Lesnar was like scuffed up on his face afterwards. So I dare say that Cody's got a receipt coming for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. We've seen Brock Lesnar matches where he has sold really well, like the super workers in inverted commas against like AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan as he was then. I think Cody Rhodes kind of fits into that bill. Potentially not as technically good as those other two, but he is a star. Yeah, he's the biggest babyface in the company at the minute. I would have loved to have seen this match for the title. People will say, oh, but you've got that fear that Lesnar will win. But I think that's what you kind of need for the first title defense, because like coming out of WrestleMania, you always, coming off of a new champion winning the title, you always think the first defense, okay, they're definitely gonna retain. But Brock Lesnar against you, it's just that extra seed of doubt for me. But hey ho.
I'm on the opposite camp there. I think if it had been for the title, it would have been just one of those matches where you know Cody's going to win.
We have to agree to disagree on that one.
With this one not knowing, it could go either way. Story-wise, you can make it work either way. Whether I trust WWE to make it work with Cody losing is a whole different matter. But either way, it could work. A talented writer could write that well. I'm not saying I could do it. I probably couldn't. But there is definitely a story to be told with Cody losing here, especially as it's very eerily similar to John Cena. Well, John Cena's story of like coming back from a big loss at WrestleMania a few years ago, loses to The Rock, first opponent Brock Lesnar, and Cena won that one, and it was a mistake. He shouldn't have. That was a return in Brock Lesnar. Get to Extreme Rules, Cena wins, big mistake. So are they going to have Cody win, or are they going to have Brock win and push him down, beat him down a little bit more?
It's definitely going to be an interesting one. There is a story for him losing. I'm not sure I'd like the story, but I think it's sort of flip a coin, and it could go either way, like we say. Let's talk about another match. One that's had, I was going to say little to no build. It's had no build. Seth Rollins, Omos, like you mentioned earlier, it's just been dropped on a random SmackDown last week. I think it's got potential to be a good match. I think it's kind of like another big test for Omos in a way, because if you can't have a good match with Seth Rollins, like you're not worth your sort of time on air, I guess, in a way. It's a new worker for Omos. I don't think he's ever faced someone like Seth Rollins. He sort of had his little blow-off feud with AJ Styles when they broke up, but didn't really have that much spotlight on it. But I'm looking forward to it. This Seth Rollins character and the form he's in is really good. He's sort of the next big babyface behind Cody Rhodes at the minute.
Yeah.
I think he fits in really well there. And if Seth comes off of there with the win, then he's going into presumably the World Heavyweight title tournament on sort of good credential.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, anyone should be able to have a good match with Seth Rollins. I feel like we could have a good wrestling match against Seth Rollins. So there's no excuse really for it being like bad. Like, we're not expecting a 5-star classic from this, but as long as it has a bit of story throughout the match. Seth's not strong enough. He can't do anything to him. Like, it doesn't need to be complicated. It just has to be something simple and a couple of memorable moments is really all it's going to need. I hope it's not a weird Omos squash match. That would make no sense, but it's also a very WWE thing to do, especially if Seth is going to go on to, like, they like to have a big, like, oh, you lost big.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're doing with Cody, isn't it? You lose big and then you go on to win bigger. The Omos stuff is so weird. I know there's all this talk about Vince being back, but it very much feels like Vince has got his room and Triple H is just giving him like Omos and be like, play with this, you do whatever you want with that, and I'll just keep doing my stuff. And it's like the match with Brock felt out of nowhere. This match was definitely out of nowhere, and I just don't see where the story goes. He's a free agent on the draft, so he can appear anywhere, which just means they don't have a story for it.
Yeah, you look at some of those free agents, it's quite funny, really. Did you see WWE's tweet the other day? Who's going to make the biggest impact out of these free agents? And you obviously got Brock Lesnar at the top, but then you've got people like Von Wagner and other people I've never heard of, which made me laugh.
Brock Lesnar makes sense because he is just someone that you're going to bring in to have a story with whoever fits.
Well, that's it.
It's like with John Cena.
That's right.
He's not on a brand. He's just going to come back.
He's not there week to week, is he? Like the others, like Dolph Ziggler, for example.
Yeah.
I know I've been saying it like a little bit tongue in cheek about Omos, but I do really think there's something there with him.
Yeah.
I think he's got the basics to be a really good big guy. He's bigger than any big guy we've ever seen. It just depends sort of where he develops, and like I said, I think this is kind of like a test for him in a way.
I'd say
see if he can make it.
It's been a constant in WWE, the big guy, and for years and years now, there's been that fascination with the big guy who just turns out to not be very good.
Yeah, well, they've not had one that's good since the Big Show. Like, you've had people try, like, Ryback, I guess.
There's a different kind of big guy, isn't it?
Alright, Braun Strowman's the main one, and he just wasn't the guy. He just wasn't it. Like, he's doing great in this tag team with Ricochet, and I think he's great, but he's just not the main eventer.
I think the longer professional wrestling goes, the more and more we get away from being big as being that attraction.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always like an audience for everything, and there's a place for the big guy for sure, because it is dwindling down. It's becoming more athletic, but seeing a guy that big is still an attraction, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if they're good. But hey, we'll see what happens with the match. It's a weird one, like we've said. It's just come out of nowhere, no build, so we can't really talk about it too much, even though we just have.
Yeah. 2 women's title matches on the card. Let's talk first about the SmackDown Women's Championship. Hopefully the last one we're calling it a name-branded Women's Championship. I am really worried that Rhea and Bianca, or whoever they lose to, I don't think either of them are losing, but are going to swap the titles like they did the other year, which is a terrible idea. I much prefer them to create new titles or even just rename them.
Well, there's talk of them changing and becoming the world titles, women's world titles, however you phrase it, but world champion being in the name. I've seen in mainstream media, mainstream wrestling media.
Could you then have like a women's world champion and a women's WWE champion?
I guess that's sort of the most obvious route to go down and sort of mimic the men's championship.
And the tag titles used to be, wasn't it? WWE tag and world tag.
I think that fits.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see that.
And it puts them on level with the men's championships, which they should have done years ago.
Yeah, I mean they did it in NXT, isn't it? In NXT, it's just it's the men's NXT championship and the women's NXT championship. They are the same.
The match itself, I think we both probably agree that Rhea Ripley's going to win.
Yeah, I'm expecting shenanigans in this one.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Yeah, Judgment Day and LWO stuff going on.
But it is the match for it. Because I don't think, because no one's expecting Rhea to lose, and I'm not expecting a Rhea Zelina match to have a whole lot going on. Just because Zelina doesn't get in the ring that much, wrestling wise, I think having the shenanigans outside the ring with Dominic and DLWO and Finn. I don't expect we'll see Damian Priest. There is rumours of a new member joining the Judgment Day at some point, so I think that's going to be the place to do it. Yeah, I do love some shenanigans as long as it's not overdone on a show.
Yeah, there's a way to do it, isn't there?
I do love a little bit.
I think the crowd's going to be hot as well because you've obviously got the hometown superstar there.
Yeah, and everyone loves Rhea as well.
Everyone does love Rhea. Yeah, and I think most people like Zelina as well, and sort of like the fact she's finally getting a title match.
Yeah.
Because she has been underused.
Hopefully she gets a little bit of a chance to get some showcasery. That's not a word, but I'm going to stick with it.
She's got a great Hurricane Rana, so let's see that. Let's talk about the other women's title match. So we've got Bianca Belair against Io Sky. There's been teasers for a while now of Damage Control potentially breaking up.
Yeah.
Them just forming a tag team and then Bayley going. There's been some friction there. Not sure it's the night for that to happen, but it could be a major plot point in it happening. Because I think, again, we probably both expect Bianca to win, even though I kind of hope Io wins because I think she's great.
Literally, as you were saying about the split up, I was getting a vision from the past of a jealous heel turning on an ally when they win a title that should have been theirs. Could they have a similar kind of setup to the Triple H Randy Orton Evolution split where you get Io wins the title and Bayley just turns on her because it should have been her championship? You
could, but I really think the Bayley heel character's gone stale. I think the way you do this is having Bayley go back to being a face and having Dakota and Io as heels still. I think that would just be a completely fresh character. Bayley coming back as face.
I could just see it as you were speaking then. It was just like, I could see
your WWE mind kicking in. But this match is going to be... I've got really high hopes for it and I hope it delivers because we all know about Bianca. I don't think Io's had the chance to show what she can do properly on the main roster. When I watched her on NXT, oh my god, some of the things she does is insane. I don't know if you saw her jumping off the top of War Games with a bin on her head.
Yes.
Yeah. That's just one, that's not like one of the most amazing things she's done. It was just a cool thing. But she is awesome.
In terms of work rate, this could be match of the night. If you like the more work rate style match.
It's the one that stands out to me.
This is going to be the standout one. I think moments-wise, we're probably going to be talking Cody Brock or the six-man tag, but in terms of work rate, I think this is definitely going to be that match, or it should at least be that match.
Yeah.
WWE sometimes do find a way to drop the ball with matches that should be really good.
Completely agree. Now, let's go over to the US title match. We've also got the champion Austin Theory up against Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed in a triple threat match. Now, Austin Theory and Lashley are now on SmackDown, I believe, and Bronson Reed has stayed on Raw.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of rules out Bronson Reed in my head.
Yes, because if he takes the title to Raw, there'll be two mid-card titles on Raw because there's no Gunther match on this card. So
we're looking at either Theory or Lashley. For me, I feel like the Theory... I was going to say experiment. The Theory run as champion has gone a bit stale. It's gone a bit flat.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the John Cena match lived up to expectations, and there's definitely nothing that's happened on the back of that.
No.
So I'd put the title on Lashley.
Yeah.
I'm actually a bit worried for Theory in a way, because you've got Grayson Waller that's come up from NXT, and he is WWE to a T, and he does Austin Theory's character better than Austin Theory.
Oh, that's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, he's like, imagine a good Miz.
Wow, what an insult to Miz.
I know, I'm worried for Miz as well. He's like a better Miz.
I think the Miz will be fine just because he's now that veteran. But yeah, it is a potential for Austin Theory to kind of lose his position in the pack, sort of thing.
I just feel like he's there, and he doesn't particularly do much. He's not developed as a character or anything. I don't think it's necessarily his fault. They just haven't done anything with this title reign.
No, it felt so good at one point when it was kind of during the whole Money in the Bank for the title. It felt so big and important, and
you had like the feud with Lashley and Seth last year, and it had a bit of spotlight on it. But now it just feels dead in the water. And when you sort of compare it to the IC title reign of Gunther, it's night and day.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because I feel like there is something there with Theory.
Especially coming off of a big money match like facing John Cena at Mania, you would have expected a lot more.
Like, we've got this big match, and we've got two big challengers up against him, but I can't remember any of the build, really. It's just Bobby Lashley going, I want my title back. I feel a little bit sorry for Bobby as well, in a way, because he's sort of going back to the US title after not having his match at Mania. Kind of feels like a bit of a stopgap for him as well.
He probably should have stayed on Raw if he did move. I can't remember the draft perfectly, but if he's gone to SmackDown, he probably should have stayed on Raw to go for the world title.
Yeah, he would have been at least a good member in that tournament.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Lashley is nailed on here to win that for me.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Before we talk about what appears on the Wikipedia listing to be listed as the main event, but before that we're going to talk about the 6-man tag match. The Bloodline story is continued. It's not quite been at its height a little bit because we're not building into a big match for Roman, and obviously he's the main star of the Bloodline story, and just a little bit because he's not been there. Like, I feel like you would still feel a lot bigger if this was a 8-man tag with Roman in it and somebody else.
Yeah, of course.
You'd have a bigger fight feel. But Roman's taking a little bit of time off.
Well, he's back on SmackDown this week.
Is he back? Yeah.
I think it's this week on SmackDown he's back.
Okay.
So is that the trial of the Usos? Who knows?
I feel like we've been getting somewhere with it because obviously we had Paul Heyman saying that Roman has had enough of you two and turned into the Usos. We had them dedicating their big win to him and then losing. Which, I mean, you could see it coming a mile away, but
Solo not being at ringside.
It was still a good moment. I've seen a lot of thoughts about a Solo attacking the Usos at the end of this match, kind of.
I could see it
on Roman's instructions, which, being as we've only got a couple of weeks until the Saudi match, does that then make a Saudi match of Bloodline versus Bloodline, Usos versus Roman and Solo?
That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? That would be pretty awesome.
I feel like I'm hyping myself up for this match on the potential of what could happen with this story.
There's a lot that could happen off the back of it.
But this should be a good match. They're all really good in the ring.
If the competitors are good, the match will be good. Or if the match is good, the show will be good.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say the story is there with all of the competitors.
Yes.
Even if so many people seem to forget that Solo is the one that injured Matt Riddle and being like, why is he in this match? Because just for once,
I don't think they've
look back.
They've not highlighted it as much as they should have.
No.
They've mentioned it a couple of times, like when Solo puts a chair over his head in the corner and that's what put him up. But yeah, they should really hype that up. I kind of like Riddle in this story because of that. Because people that actually don't have goldfish brain remember back to how he was put out.
So often we talk about WWE treating everyone like they're idiots, and the one time they've been like, just be smart about this for a second. Everyone's proving why WWE need to treat you like idiots sometimes.
Oh yeah, maybe it's because idiots watch WWE and clever people watch another show. But anyway,
what does that make you? Because you watch both.
Top notch. I only watch good stuff on WWE. AEW's not been much better recently. Anyway.
I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point.
Main event time. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest.
I mean, this absolutely shouldn't be the main event, but it...
Really?
Because it's not going to be a great match.
No, but you've got the biggest star in the world, essentially. Bad Bunny. He's got to be main event in Puerto Rico.
It's a marquee match for sure, but it isn't your going last match.
Don't underestimate Bad Bunny. Things we've seen him do. If you just remember back to what he's done in the ring, in his matches, he's been awesome.
He has been awesome. He's really thrown himself in, and he's been worked with really talented people to help him make him look amazing. What's it? Canadian Destroyer was his finisher, which is all the other person. But
as we saw at the weekend,
never expected to see a Canadian Destroyer on a local wrestling show
in the garden of a pub. I'm not going to say that. Carry on.
This is another one where there's probably going to be shenanigans because it is a street fight, so there's going to be weapons, there's presumably going to be interference. If we don't see interference with the Rhea Zelina Vega match, we're definitely getting it here. There's going to be a big moment in it. There's going to be Damian Priest doing something ridiculous and missing, or Bad Bunny jumping off a ladder or something. Like, there's going to be that level of, like, you're going to remember this.
That crowd's going to be white hot for this match as well. And it's definitely going to be the main event. WWE want eyes on it, for sure.
Like I said, I don't think it should be, but it probably will be.
I think it should be, personally. But that's it, I guess. That's Backlash in a nutshell.
Are you looking forward to it?
I am, yeah. It's sort of crept up on me a little bit.
It helps that it's a Saturday, and for us here in the UK, a bank holiday, which just makes it even sweeter.
Cheers, King Charles. I'm not pledging allegiance to you, though. Unfortunately, big it is.
There's only one king when it comes to wrestling. That's
King Booker. And then you.
Okay, I'll take second.
You can be like in Frozen. You can be the king of Weaselton or Weaseltown.
Never seen Frozen.
And on that bombshell, well, there we have it. That's our Backlash preview. Hope you've enjoyed it. I guess we'll speak to you afterwards. We'll have a little look back on Backlash. Until then, over to Damien with the socials. I can't believe you've never seen Frozen.
Let it go, Sam. Let it go.
Thank you very much for tuning in. To keep up to date with all things Figure Forecast, you can follow us on Twitter at Figure4UK, follow us on Facebook by searching the Figure Forecast, and check us out on YouTube, also by searching the Figure Forecast. Till next time, thank you for listening.